The time-traveling troubles of Professor Jenkins. Once upon a time, in a quaint little town, there lived a brilliant but absent-minded scientist named Professor Jenkins. He was known for his wild inventions and wacky experiments, but his latest creation was about to take him on a hilariously unexpected journey. One day, Professor Jenkins invented a time machine made out of an old washing machine and a collection of rubber chickens. Excitedly, he stepped into the machine and set the dials, eager to travel through time and explore the mysteries of history. However, as soon as the time machine whirred to life, things quickly went awry. Instead of landing in the past, Professor Jenkins found himself transported to random places and times, resulting in a series of comical misadventures. In ancient Egypt, he accidentally stumbled into the path of a procession of pharaohs, mistaking them for a costume party and joining in the dance, much to the confusion of the ancient Egyptians. In medieval Europe, he mistook a jousting tournament for a modern-day Renaissance fair and tried to join the knights, only to get catapulted into a mud pit. In the Wild West, he mistakenly entered a saloon thinking it was a hipster cafe and ended up in a showdown with a grumpy gunslinger who thought he was an outlaw. In Victorian England, he attempted to demonstrate his futuristic gadgets to a group of skeptical aristocrats, only to create a series of comedic mishaps involving top hats, crinoline skirts, and monocles. As Professor Jenkins continued to bumble through time, he learned to laugh at his own misadventures and make the best of each situation. He made friends with historical figures like Leonardo da Vinci and Cleopatra, unintentionally started dance crazes, and even inadvertently solved a few historical mysteries with his scientific knowledge. After many chaotic misadventures, Professor Jenkins finally managed to find his way back to the present time, with a newfound appreciation for the unexpected and a collection of hilarious memories. He realized that while his time machine may not have worked as intended, the journey was filled with side-splitting moments and unexpected friendships that made it a truly unforgettable experience. The Misadventures of Mr. Murphy. In a small town called Sunnyvale, there lived a man named Mr. Murphy, who had an uncanny knack for getting into mishaps and misadventures. Despite his best intentions, he seemed to have a knack for finding himself in the most absurd and humorous situations. One day, Mr. Murphy decided to take his new bicycle for a spin. He rode confidently down the street, waving to his neighbors with a big grin on his face. But just as he turned the corner, his shoelace got caught in the bike chain, causing him to come to a sudden stop and tumble headfirst into a pile of leaves. Passers-by couldn't help but laugh as Mr. Murphy emerged from the pile, leaves stuck to his clothes and a bewildered expression on his face. Determined to shake off his string of bad luck, Mr. Murphy decided to go fishing at the nearby lake. He cast his line with gusto, but as luck would have it, he hooked a big fish that was too strong for him to reel in. In his frantic attempt to bring in the fish, Mr. Murphy stumbled over a rock, fell into the water, and emerged dripping wet, fish still attached to his fishing rod as he waded to the shore. Undeterred by his misadventures, Mr. Murphy decided to try his hand at gardening next. Armed with a spade and a packet of seeds, he set out to plant some flowers in his front yard. But as he dug a hole, he accidentally dropped his car keys in it, and in his attempt to retrieve them, he ended up getting his head stuck in the hole, much to the amusement of his neighbors who gathered to watch the spectacle. Mr. Murphy's misadventures continued to pile up, from getting his pants caught on a fence while trying to retrieve a runaway kite to mistaking a beehive for a piñata during a picnic, resulting in a comical chase through the park. Despite his frequent mishaps, Mr. Murphy took it all in stride, always managing to find the silver lining and laugh at himself. In the end, Mr. Murphy's misadventures became legendary in Sunnyvale, and he was known far and wide as the town's lovable bumbler. His positive outlook, resilience, and ability to find humor in even the most awkward situations endeared him to everyone he met, and he became a beloved figure in the town. A Day in the Life of Clumsy Carl. Once upon a time, in a quaint little village, there lived a man named Clumsy Carl. Poor Carl seemed to be cursed with an extraordinary amount of clumsiness, and every day was an adventure filled with unexpected mishaps and blunders. One morning, Carl woke up and decided to make himself some breakfast. As he reached for the cereal box on the top shelf, he accidentally knocked over a stack of plates, sending them crashing to the floor in a cacophony of broken porcelain. He managed to step on a shard of the plate, hopping around in pain while trying to avoid stepping on any more broken pieces. Later that day, Carl decided to take a walk in the park. As he strolled along the path, he tripped over a tree root and stumbled into a puddle, soaking his pants and shoes. He tried to regain his composure but ended up stepping in more puddles and slipping on mud, resulting in a series of comedic falls and slides that left him covered in dirt and giggling at his own misfortune. In the afternoon, Carl decided to do some grocery shopping. As he navigated the store aisles, he managed to knock over a display of canned goods, creating a loud domino effect that drew the attention of the store staff and fellow shoppers. Carl blushed and apologized profusely while trying to pick up the rolling cans and restore order to the chaos he had unintentionally caused. As the day went on, Carl's misadventures continued, from accidentally locking himself out of his house to getting his shoelaces tied together while trying to tie his shoes. He even managed to get his jacket stuck in a car door, resulting in a comical tug-of-war with the vehicle before he finally freed himself. Despite his constant mishaps, clumsy Carl remained optimistic and never lost his sense of humor. He laughed along with others at his own misfortunes and saw the silver lining in every blunder. His endearing personality and ability to find joy in the midst of chaos made him a beloved figure in the village, and his escapades were often the talk of the town. The Adventures of Silly Sally. Once upon a time in a small town, there lived a young girl named Silly Sally. Sally was known for her quirky and offbeat personality, and she had a penchant for getting into all sorts of hilarious situations. One day, Sally decided to bake a cake for her best friend's birthday. She gathered all the ingredients, but in her excitement, she accidentally added salt instead of sugar, resulting in a cake that was almost inedible. Sally tried to salvage the situation by frosting the cake with a lopsided smiley face, but it ended up looking more like a squished bug. Undeterred, Sally decided to surprise her friend with the cake anyway. She carefully carried it to her friend's house, but on the way, she tripped over a stray cat and dropped the cake right into a muddy puddle. Sally burst into laughter as she scooped up the cake, now resembling a mud pie, and decided to present it as an avant-garde dessert. Later that day, Sally volunteered to help her elderly neighbor with her gardening. However, in her enthusiasm, she accidentally planted the flowers upside down and watered them with lemonade instead of water. When her neighbor discovered the mishap, she couldn't help but chuckle at Sally's innocent mistake. Sally's adventures continued throughout the day, from accidentally wearing her shirt backward to mistaking a toy snake for a real one and shrieking in surprise. Despite her constant blunders, Sally's positive attitude and ability to find humor in every situation endeared her to everyone in the town. As the day came to an end, Sally realized that it was the laughter and joy she brought to others through her silliness that made her truly happy. She learned that it's okay to make mistakes and laugh at oneself, and that sometimes the best memories are made from the unexpected and comical moments in life. The Hilarious Misadventures of Mr. Bean Jr. In a small village nestled in the countryside, there lived a young boy named Mr. Bean Jr. who was known for his uncanny ability to find himself in the most comical situations. Mr. Bean Jr. was the son of the legendary Mr. Bean, a renowned character known for his hilarious antics. One day, Mr. Bean Jr. decided to follow in his father's footsteps and set out on a series of misadventures. He started by trying to help his elderly neighbor, Mrs. Jenkins, with her gardening. However, he mistook a bag of fertilizer for a bag of seeds and ended up fertilizing the entire garden with hilarious results. Cabbages grew the size of watermelons, and carrots twisted into bizarre shapes that resembled characters from a cartoon. Undeterred, Mr. Bean Jr. then decided to help the local bakery by delivering bread to the neighboring village. However, he got distracted by a flock of ducks crossing the road and ended up crashing his bike into a haystack, launching himself into the air like a circus acrobat. Villagers laughed as they watched him untangle himself from the haystack with bits of straw sticking out of his clothes. Next, Mr. Bean Jr. tried to help the local school by substituting as a substitute teacher. But his unconventional teaching methods, such as using a rubber chicken as a pointer and accidentally mistaking a globe for a soccer ball, resulted in chaos and hilarity in the classroom. Throughout the day, Mr. Bean Jr.'s adventures continued, from mistaking a cow for a horse and trying to ride it, to getting stuck in a tree while attempting to rescue a kite. Despite his constant misadventures, Mr. Bean Jr. never lost his sense of humor and always found a way to turn even the most embarrassing situations into laughter. As the day came to an end, Mr. Bean Jr. realized that he had inherited his father's gift for making people laugh and spreading joy. He learned that laughter is the best medicine, and that even in the midst of mishaps and misadventures, there's always something to smile about. If you have any suggestions on how we can scale up our content or ideas for future videos, we'd love to hear from you. Drop your comments down below and let us know what you think. Your feedback means the world to us as we continue to create more engaging and entertaining videos for you. Thank you for being a part of our community and supporting us on this incredible journey. Make yourself a cup of coffee and enjoy the content. Cheers to more exciting adventures ahead.